call the meeting of the Butler County Board of Commissioners. Would you please rise for the moment of solemn prayer, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amy, has anyone signed in for public comment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The public comment portion of our meeting provides residents and taxpayers of Butler County a reasonable opportunity to comment on matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are or may be before the board prior to taking official action. Presentations must be limited to 3 minutes. The chairman has asked me to remind everyone that no personal attacks on the character or reputation of county employees, department heads, or any official will be tolerated. Any speaker doing so may be ruled out of order by the chair. I'll call the names in the order that they appear on the sign-in sheet, and when you come to the podium, please state your name and your municipality of residence. James Eckstein.
My name is James Eckstein, Butler Township. I'm speaking today about the worst injustice I've witnessed since being elected commissioner, bar none. The commissioners have oversight of certain county departments by state law. Children and Youth Services is one of those agencies. In June 2009, CYS received a rape allegation against Dean Regis 40 of Butler. He was later charged with 43 counts of sexual assault, in large part due to the CYS mishandling of the allegations. Jody Miller was the caseworker and Joyce Ainsworth was the head of CYS then and now. 1.5 days after the rape allegation was reported to the police, the alleged victim had a medical exam at Butler Memorial Hospital. She was under the care of Dr. James Minshall and a registered nurse, Rita Miller. The doctor and nurse are trained and state certified to do these exams. Dr. Minshall informed all parties of the exam the results are negative and that the girl never had sex. At the time of the incident, Dr. Minshall had 23 years of ER service. Knowing full well the results were negative, caseworker Miller set up a second exam at UPMC Children's Hospital 10 days later. Dr. Janet Squires reported that a microscopic abrasion seen on the hymen using a microscope may have been caused by sexual trauma. May have. She was paid $1,300 for her medical opinion. A peer review of the doctors at Children's Hospital disagreed with Squires' findings. No conclusive physical evidence didn't seem to bother CYS and DA's office.
Jim.
We have an allegation and the jury's sympathy. Let's withhold Dr. Minshall's report and conviction.
The meeting is suspended for 15 minutes while Commissioner Eckstein can compose himself.
Did the rape case bear
for 15 minutes.
Director oversight? You should sure think so. Caseworker Bosco and DA Goldinger handled this case abhorrently from the start. I believe ADA Bosco was on a mission to justify his job, his paycheck, and benefits from the county, regardless of truth. Since then, ADA Bosco received a promotion, and CYS head Ainsworth is vying for one. Example, look, we all want to prosecute priests and individuals that have molested children, but I don't want to convict even one priest. That is innocent. A person's life is mission for our community.
Could you turn the camera
our
off?
families and our teachers of our life lessons.
You're off?
5 years
I don't want this in the minutes.
Has not had his
You
name
understand
cleared
that too?
and
And
has
you
not been
understand that?
reunited with
I'll
his
still
child.
be asking questions
You
about
can
that.
ask questions, but this is not to be in the minutes because he's talking about confidential information. And the meeting is no longer in session.
Still some serious allegations. We'll have to-
Justice in Butler County, Shirley is not.
It'll be on
what was that
YouTube.
idiot? You just,
You're
you're on camera on my camera, buddy.
You're not on the public camera, you're not going to be in the
Point
news.
of order.
The meeting is
BS,
suspended.
buddy, I could care less. But justice in Butler County is surely not blind. In this case, only contempt for the Constitution and our legal system is being taught. Where there should be shame, there only exists moral bankruptcy. Thank you very much. I want to sign up again. You know, what are we doing, Mike? You know,
What you're doing is exposing the county to a
we're
lawsuit.
taping this to
Good.
the-
They need
That's what
it.
you're doing.
They need
I
one.
don't
They're
care.
going
You've
to
been
have you.
notified by the state to not do what you just did.
That's
No,
okay.
no, I have not
Yes,
been
you have.
notified.
Yes, you have.
That's a lie. I've been notified that this is all public information. It was done in the paper. And it was done in the Butler Eagle, okay?
Okay.
Are you gonna arrest them?
I don't arrest people.
Yeah, okay, well, you do the
have
job,
arrested.
okay? You do the job, Mike. You're the man.
Next speaker, anything?
Hey, wait a minute.
You're out of order.
Wait a minute.
You are
adjourned
done.
to me and I ain't
You
giving
are
on 3
done.
minutes,
Jim, we'll
man.
suspend this meeting till tomorrow morning if you're gonna act this way.
Well, I'm not acting anyway.
Yes, you are.
I want my right of free speech,
You had your
okay?
right and you
No,
were
I
out
didn't.
of order in your right. You were talking about confidential information.
No, this is public information. That was in the
It is
Butler
not
Eagle.
information that is to be talked about at a public meeting.
This is information, it is
Jim, you want
public.
to come up here and take your place before we suspend the meeting till 2 o'clock?
I don't care. You do whatever you want. I'm getting my 2 minutes, okay?
Yeah, will you make a motion to suspend this meeting until 2 o'clock?
Make a motion to suspend it till 2 o'clock.
All right, I'll
No,
second it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting is suspended until 2 o'clock this afternoon.
My name is Jim Eckstein, the Butler County Commissioner. I was interrupted by Bill McCarrier's my speech at the meeting, I believe unjustly, and I'd like to have that uninterrupted reading of the speech. I'm speaking today about the worst injustice I've witnessed since being elected commissioner, bar none. The commissioners have oversight of certain county departments by state law. Children and Youth Services is one of those agencies. In June 2009, CYS received a rape allegation against Dean Regis 40 of Butler. He was later charged with 43 counts of sexual assault, in large part due to the CYS mishandling of the allegations. Jody Miller was the caseworker and Joyce Ainsworth was the head of CYS then and now. 1.5 days after the rape allegation was reported to the police, the alleged victim had a medical exam at Butler Memorial Hospital. She was under the care of Dr. James Mitchell and registered nurse Rita Miller. The doctor and nurse are trained and state certified to do these exams. Dr. Mitchell informed all parties at the exam that the results are negative and that the girl has never had sex. The girl has never had sex. At the time of the incident, Dr. Mitchell had 23 years of ER experience. Knowing full well that the results were negative, caseworker Miller set up a second exam at UPMC Children's Hospital 10 days later. Dr. Janet Squires reported that a microscopic abrasion seen on the hymen using a microscope may have caused a sexual trauma. May have caused. She was paid $1,300 for her medical opinion. A peer review of the doctors of Children's Hospital disagreed with Squire's findings. No conclusive physical evidence. Didn't seem to bother CYS and the DA's office. We have an allegation and a jury sympathy. Let's withhold Dr. Mitchell's report for a conviction. CYS director was still and still is Joyce Ainsworth. Did a rape case merit the director's oversight? You would sure think it's so. You would sure think so. Caseworker Miller and Director Ainsworth, ADA Bosco, and DA Goldnigger handled this case abhorrently from the start. I believe ADA Bosco was on a mission to justify his job, paychecks, and benefits with the county regardless of the truth. Since then, ADA Bosco received a promotion and CYS had Ainsworth vying for one. Example, look, we all want to prosecute priests and individuals that have molested children, but I don't want to convict even one priest that is innocent. A person whose life's mission is to help our community, our families, and teach our children this life's lessons. 5 years later, Dean Regis has not had his name cleared, has not been reunited with his child, no vacations, no Ottawa Park, no Easter Sundays at church, and school justice was always portrayed as being blindfolded. But justice in Butler County surely is not blind. In this case, only contempt for our Constitution and legal system is being taught. Where there should be shame, there only exists moral bankruptcy. Thank you. County Commissioner Jim Eckstein. That's
You will reconvene this meeting. Brother Solicitor, would you please talk about this situation? Jim is going to speak 3 minutes after you.
Okay. I just wanted to make a statement about the basis for the reason that the commissioner was ruled out of order and the grounds upon which his statements were inconsistent with the county policy. First off, they contained a personal attack on at least 4 county employees, which is in direct violation of the county's policy on public speaking. Second off, if the statements weren't, they were or are dangerously close to disclosing illegal information which is confidential, which would be illegal to disclose, exposing the commissioner and the county to possible legal action, which of course it's my job to minimize that and minimize the risk of the county to any such lawsuits, and the statements clearly, it didn't go over the line, was very, very close to it. Lastly, it's not a matter that is or would be before the board. The issues which Mr. Eckstein was referring to have been the subject of an extensive investigation, outside investigation, conducted by the Department of Public Welfare, and on which they have opined at length in writing, in which report they stated that there were no regulatory violations or ethical improprieties in connection with Butler County's actions. Accordingly, this matter it is not ripe for any action by the board, and as far as I know is concluded. So those were the reasons why the statements were in violation of the county policy.
Okay, Jim, you have anything?
Jim Eckstein, Butler Township. Look, I want to use, I've changed my speech a little. I already did it on tape. I was rudely interrupted. Look, there was no personal attacks. I'm telling the truth. You know, if bringing the truth out in public is a personal attack, I guess people attacked Richard Nixon in Watergate. I guess they did attack the president, okay? All public information I did, okay? And as far as Mike English saying this isn't under our jurisdiction or whatever, these are matters of concern under the Sunshine Law. You know, matters of concern. It doesn't say what he said. You know, I just like to say this. I was speaking today, I tried to speak today at the first meeting about the worst injustice by witness since being elected commissioner, bar none. The commissioners have oversight of certain county departments by state law, and as Children and Youth Service is one of those agencies. Then I was shut down from my free speech by Bill McCarrier, illegally, okay? If I speak publicly about how CYS Department Head Joyce Ainsworth mishandled allegations of a rape case from 2009, then I'm suddenly out of order. Well, isn't that a socialistic concept, not an American concept? Well, after all, we pledge allegiance to the flag right after, at every meeting. It's in America. McCarrier throws mud on our Constitution by not giving me free speech because they judge me bringing the truth out is a personal attack. That's ridiculous. This plan of attack happened most recently at our Pittsburgh VA when the healthcare appointments for our veterans in a timely fashion and covering up deaths from Legionnaire's disease. Now, the press addressed that. Yes, they did. These were unconscionable acts at the VA. VA head Terry Wolf's actions caused many veterans' deaths, harmed their families. It was a disgrace from our country, for our country, our state, and our region. The taxpayers are now picking up the freight for this cover-up. They had a cover-up down there at the VA. My wife works there. Now we're witnessing a cover-up in Butler County, just like the one in the VA cover-up in Pittsburgh. Covering up wrongdoing has no place in a free society. What the caseworker did and the CYS Department Head Ainsworth did to an innocent victim is unconscionable. What they did working with the ADA Bosco and the DA Goldinger, it's unconscionable. I believe that they colluded to cover up evidence in a felony child endangerment case. In America,
And that's a personal attack.
These actions should be made public. That is opinion, and the DA can take care of himself, okay? He can come get me, he knows where I'm at. You know,
That's
arrest me.
time.
I will respond to Mr. Eckstein's remarks. Based on Jim's personal motivations and eagerness to capitalize on his freedom of speech, Jim took the liberty to speak in regards to a specific personal and confidential Butler County children and youth issue. Most importantly, in the process of his choosing to do so, he has violated the rights of a child by exploiting them in public for his own purposes. This precious child, as all children, attends a school somewhere in Butler County. This child has rights too. Adults should never exploit children, as Jim has done, especially for his own purposes. In the process of his choosing to do so, he has violated the trust of all public taxpayers and residents of Butler County who access our children and youth. With these, will those county residents needing services be reluctant to ask our children and youth for services in the future because of what has been done here today? I think that's a possibility, and this will be to the detriment of all children in Butler County. Mr. Eckstein, whenever he himself confuses it to be in his own quest, he says anything he wants and calls it justice. As chairman of the county, I want to all our residents to know that this is unacceptable behavior, and the county will not tolerate anyone, regardless of their status, to discuss names and or confidential information related to any CYS case, publicly or for any point in time. Our county CYS department will continue to work diligently to uphold the rights of the children in our county. Mr. Eckstein has been advised on numerous occasions by various state officials of the Pennsylvania Department of Welfare in regard to what he ignores as the rights of these children and the services provided by our department. And also he has placed additional liability in our county because what he has said here today could result in lawsuits.
Point of order.
Go.
It says 2 minutes up. You get a 2-minute rebuttal. Mike, if you're
I'm done, okay?
Point of order.
I am done.
You set the rules, I didn't. I just live by them.
Okay. Next speaker.
Yes, sir. And I would like to remind all speakers of the statement that I made earlier. And again, once you come to the podium, please state your name and your municipality of residence. Robert Regis.
Robert Regis, City of Butler. I'd like to address the CYS issue because I'm the one who filed the oversight complaint with the Board of Commissioners that Commissioner Eckstein is trying to resolve and address. And I will tell you, sir, outright, the DPW investigation did not address the issues in my complaint. They didn't even come close to addressing the single issue in my complaint. Not even close. That complaint is still in front of this board. It is my understanding, true or false, that the Butler County Board of Commissioners does have oversight of CYS. Is that true?
This isn't a question and answer conference.
That is true.
That is true,
That
right?
is true.
And with that, I filed a complaint, CYS oversight complaint, which Commissioner Eckstein is attempting, as a constituent, to resolve. How is that wrong? How can that be wrong? It can't be. It's not wrong. Look at the elections yesterday. You get a crystal picture of how upset the people in the United States are because of these type similar issues going on around the United States. I am deserving of an answer. This board has not provided me an answer yet. The Esquire just says this issue is closed. Is it closed?
What's your question, Bob?
The oversight complaint. Is it closed?
We have no comment on that. I have no comment on that. I would advise the board not to comment on
because
that.
that's confidential.
Okay.
They made me do that.
Rational people can deduce that by the board staying quiet, that the board condones the actions and behaviors of the people involved in my complaint. I won't mention any names that have already been mentioned. By the way, for the record, everything that Commissioner Eckstein said is already public knowledge. It is out on the internet. It is public. There's not one single piece of evidence or name that he mentioned that is not, I repeat, is not a matter of public record. If the Esquire can find one, he has my address because Ms. Wilson CC'd him on the original right to know request that I put in. He knows who I am, he knows my name. Please, let me know. I'm a Butler City taxpayer. Violations were made here. A single commissioner is trying to resolve it. And I know I'm getting close to my 3 minutes, but this issue is not done. Even if this board says it's done, as a citizen of the United States, a person who served 27 years in the Air Force, defending the Constitution, I can tell you this issue is not resolved. That's not a threat, gentlemen. I have First Amendment rights, and I plan on executing them every step of the way. This issue is far from being resolved. I thank you for your
That's
time.
time.
Bob, I'd like to thank you for coming today. Bob is a 27-year veteran of the Air Force. My brother was in the Air Force too, and I think the other commissioners dismissed his complaints. I mean, due to his service in this country. And we have veterans that come up with a problem, and you just treat them like they were second-class citizens. I find it appalling. I mean, I looked at Bob Regis's and Dean Regis's resume. The Bob Regis here, he has a resume that anybody in this room would envy, okay? He has I mean that. I envy that. I could never do what he did. I'm trying to up here do the right thing. But I'd like to say this too. Look, if anybody thinks what I do is a personal attack, bringing out the truth and having truth in our society is not a personal attack. That is absolutely, this great nation, through Watergate, what he did there, they showed the rest of the world that anybody in charge cannot break those rules. Whether you're in the federal government or whether you're, where you're at, and you certainly can't do it in Butler County. And we have the right to, or the obligation to bring these misjustice to the public, and that's what I'm doing here today. Thanks for coming, Bob.
Dean Regis.
Commissioner, how are you? Good morning. My name is Dean Regis.
Excuse me, sir, will you please state your
Just head there, sir. Dean
Okay.
Regis, Butler City taxpayer.
You live in the city of Butler?
I do, sir.
Wow.
So, there's a serious concern I have with the promotion of certain unsaid people to certain powers inside of CYS and other areas. There's a pre-written speech. Still debating whether I want to just read it off of here or give it to you from my heart. But this will contain a little later into this pre-written speech my greatest concern. So thank you for your time. Imagine you are a dedicated father and husband with a daughter and a stepdaughter who enjoys your family life. Now imagine your worst nightmare coming true. You are unilaterally removed from your from your home. You find out your wife wants a divorce, and immediately you're accused of some pretty unthinkable acts against your stepdaughter. And you know that these allegations are not true. This very scenario happened to me in 2009. I faced some pretty serious sexual allegations that CYS investigated and saw as indicated for sexual abuse. This was based off of nothing more than the allegation on the stepdaughter, who was actually in, I would say, in therapy for some issues. We'll leave it at that. This child was taken to Butler Memorial Hospital, where a board-certified emergency room physician examined this child and found zero signs of physical abuse. This abuse was supposed to be deep, penetrative sex, 16 episodes at minimum, and there were zero signs of physical evidence. This wasn't good enough. This didn't placate. This didn't reach the end goal for the prosecution. So the prosecution takes this child down to UPMC, not Pasadena, which is in St. County. They broke their own SOP to take this child to UPMC so that this child could be examined by an advocacy doctor, a child advocacy doctor, who did not know the initial exam was performed. Afterwards, she couldn't say with medical certainty that anything had happened. But her peers disagreed that anything at all happened, just like the ER doctor. No findings, 0. CYS still pushed this. The gravest part
That's
of this-
time.
Thank you for your time.
Next.
Wow.
Peggy Abersol.
Amy, in an essence, to keep everything moving this my way today.
Mark Krenitsky.
Same thing.
Can I take your turn?
There's no one else signed up for public comment.
All right, we have minutes from our October 20th and our October 27th meetings. Is there a motion to approve those as printed? Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Old business.
Under old business, under facilities and operations, John Campbell.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. Today we have before you on old business the approval of 7 simplex canal contracts. 3 of them are firearms. I'll just read down through them. The Government Center would be a 1-year annual firearm test and inspect. We'll start on 11/1/14 and on 10/31/15 for an annual price of $6,120 per year. The emergency management would be 3 years. It'll start on 11/1/14 and on 10/31/17. Annual cost $4,172. Secure Probation Office. It'll be a 1-year contract, starting on 11/1/14, ending on 10/31/15. Annual cost $2,182. I ask for your approval on these with the chair to sign.
I'll make the motion. Is there a second to the
I'll
motion?
second that.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion carries. Proceed, John.
Sprinkler and fire pumps. The courthouse is a 3-year contract, starting on 11/1/14 to 10/31/17, $149.63 per year. The tier probation, be a 1-year contract, 11/1/14 start date, 10/31/15 end date, $149.63 per year. The Government Center is a 3-year contract, 11/1/14 start, 11/31/17 end date, and it would be $798 a year. The Sunnyview Complex is a 3-year contract, 11/1/14 start date, 10/31/17 end date, at an annual cost of $149.62 per year. Ask for approval and chair sign.
I'll make the motion. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. The motion carries. Thank you, John.
Commissioners, we have a proclamation to present this morning in recognition of National Adoption Month in Butler County. Whereas all children deserve strong families who are there to protect and love them. Every year, thousands of Americans extend the gift of family to a child through adoption. During National Adoption Month, we recognize the compassion of adoptive and foster families and renew our pledge to finding loving and stable homes for children in need. And whereas today more than 15,000 children remain in foster care in Pennsylvania, finding families is the goal for waiting children in Butler County. Many of these children are brothers and sisters who want to grow up together. And whereas currently Pennsylvania has over 800 children waiting for an adoptive family to be identified. In 2013, over 2,000 children from foster care were adopted in Pennsylvania. And whereas every child deserves a place to call home. National Adoption Month is an opportunity to spread awareness on behalf of the children in Butler County who are waiting for a loving family. Now therefore, we, the Butler County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of November officially National Adoption Month in Butler County. In honor of National Adoption Month, We encourage the community, businesses, groups, schools, faith-based organizations, and families to help secure permanent, loving homes for each and every child in Butler County, regardless of race, age, gender, health, emotional or behavioral challenges, and past distress. And here to accept the proclamation is Nicole Burdette from the Children and Youth Agency.
Thank you, Nicole. If you'd like to say something, please go over there and speak.
This year, we're going to have over 20 kids go through the Children and Youth Agency and through private adoptions being adopted this year. So we're very excited for these 20-some children to have their forever families. And we just want to thank all of our people that sponsored us and all the volunteers. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole, very much. Amy, proceed to new business, please.
Under new business, the first item is court administration. Tom Holman.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good morning, Tom.
I have three things for your consideration today. First, I'd like approval to advertise an RFP for the provision of drug testing services to the adult probation office. I'd like the commission to advertise it.
I'll make the motion.
Is there, I'll second it. Discussion? Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. The motion is carried.
Thank you. I'd like your permission to advertise an RFP as well for the provision of collection services to help us with the collection of outstanding fine costs and restitution, again, through adult probation. May I have your permission to advertise that?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
And then finally, I have a contract which is basically an amendment, to the contract that we have assigned language interpreting professionals. This changes their mailing address to where they moved to and also puts more accurate fees in there that reflect those which are permitted by the Supreme Court. I'd ask for approval of this contract.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Next, under facilities and operations, once again, John Campbell.
Today, Commissioners, today we ask for approval on the following amendments to the county existing agreement with Consolidated Communications. The approval of automated attendant with Consolidated Communications with the GAD, the automated attendant on the in-county phone line. Monthly cost of $213 a month, with authorization to the chair to sign.
I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that. I have a question.
Discussion?
When could that go into effect? Like, would it be operational in January? or-
It could possibly be in effect in a week and a half, depending on how fast we move on it.
Oh, okay. So first of the year is no problem. Okay. Thanks, John.
Those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries.
Second part I'd have was renewal with related long-distance block agreements with Consolidated to give the same end dates as the 5 long-distance contracts. This would be our long-distance phone buckets for MHMR, DNA, domestic relations, prison, CYS, and the general mailing. There's no change. Basically, what they do is they block in to say MHMR. It's a $2,000 or a 2,000 minute bucket. It costs us $70, and our averages after that would be at 6 cents. The prison and CYS would be a $4,000 bucket. It costs $140 a month, and the averages would be 6 cents a minute after that. The main line here at the government center would be a $10,000 bucket, or a 10,000 minute bucket with a $300 monthly charge, and the averages on that would be 5 cents a minute. The bucket equals out to about 3.5 cents per minute, so we are saving approximately $3,000 a month per year.
Is there a motion? So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that. I really appreciate that, John, that you checked that out. How much we saved, that was great. Thank you.
John, you say here there's no price change. No, you said are you saying it's less money?
With the buckets, it's less money.
Okay.
These are just actual renewals. The prices are staying the same. the buckets, we actually do save approximately about $3,000 a year. We did this last year.
Thank you, John, you're doing a great job. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll be asking for permission from you today to Smallwood Excavating for an invoice for replacement of the sewer line at Sunnyview Complex for the amount of $26,320.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that. I'd like to say
Go
something.
ahead.
I'd just like the public to know this. We had, when we were selling Sunnyview, they cambered the pipe, and we are actually lucky with this repair because the water line never completely broke off. This could have been a lot worse. Yeah, when they cambered that pipe and saw the water running in there, there was a huge water leak, which was very great they found. Now, the pipes weren't at the same level, but they were in the same vicinity. So I know this seems like a lot, but John Campbell called 3 different bids for this. That we had to rush this through or work. And John, I thought you got it really fair prices, and I think it worked out well. But this wasn't, I'm very happy. It could have went really bad. You've seen some of the stuff on TV where the water's rushing everywhere. Well, we dodged the bullet.
We ended up with the Butler. We're all happy with that.
Yeah, that's
the repairs. Everything's back to us almost up to what we need to do. We got to put an oil separator in out there and we'll be complete.
yeah. So we dodged a bullet in actuality. I'm very pleased, John. Thanks.
And this had originally been estimated to cost $30,000, and then lower with thank Alan Smallwood for the great job he did there. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries.
Third thing I'll be asking is ratification or approval of minor change order with the Stantec service regarding the Government Center Annex project. This is due to safety concerns and making maybe a couple receptionist area bigger and moving some walls and stuff at a cost of not to exceed $15,000. This will be done on an hourly basis, and it's not only for the architectural drawings, but it's to go back and review the electrical, plumbing, the HVAC, and the sprinkler systems.
And the approvals associated there with.
Yeah, then there will be approvals afterwards. You're going to have to do that.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the
Is there
motion.
a second?
I'll second that, and I'd just like to say this too. There was a lot of safety. I mean, the commissioners, I know I did, I can only speak for myself, but we talked this over thoroughly. They brought up with safety for staff. That's primarily what this is for CYS, the lobby for CYS and Human Services. There was a mistake made, but we don't want to have a more egregious mistake made with some of these safety violations. So that's why we made this decision. That's why I made the decision.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries.
Fourth thing I'm asking approval on is extension of time with Union Electric for the 911 project. We had a completion date of 10/7/14. When work was done, most of it was done prior to it, but due to Ridgeway Cummings scheduling and First Energy scheduling for the same day to do the power switch over, it took approximately about an extra month and a half for them to get coordinated where we could do this.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
John, is it done now?
Yes.
Okay. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Next, under Human Services, Ann Brown.
Good afternoon,
Good
Commissioner.
morning. Good afternoon, Ann.
First, 2 items I have are related to our DPW Health Choices Amendment. The amendment is to specifically require the compliance with the provisions of the Medicaid state program and federal waivers in regarding to the Health EPA, which makes reforms to the Pennsylvania Medicaid program. The changes are made to expand the coverage to individuals and families that meet income guidelines while including cost-sharing requirements, correlating benefits to actual health care needs, and placing limitations on the certain benefits. The coverage will begin on January 1st of 2015. So I ask your approval of the contract amendment with the Department of Public Welfare.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries.
The Second, I'd ask your approval of the amendment with the Value Behavioral Health of Pennsylvania. This is our bonding managed care organization to fulfill the DPW requirements. Ask your approval.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carries.
Then I have 3 human services contract amendments for the fiscal year 14-15. There was the Glade Run, the Open Table, a new program for $20,000. The Irene Stacy Community Mental Health Center for the mobile medication program. This is a rate change effective September 17th, as to take into account the new service definition requirements that we had approved. And then Grapevine Center, the Housing Engagement Support Program, the amount of $15,556. Ask your approval of those 3 amendments.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carries.
Then I would ask your approval of 3 board reappointments to the MHCI ID Advisory Board, Vicky Beecham, Kelly Fisher, and Janice Rogers, effective November 1st of 2014 through November 30th of 2017. Ask the approval of those 3 reappointments.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Next, under Planning Commission, Dave Johnson.
Morning, Commissioner.
Hi,
Good
Dave.
afternoon.
Hi, Dave.
At the last meeting, Commissioners meeting, the board approved the agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for the City of Butler dynamic truck study. At that time, following the meeting, we realized that there was a resolution that had to be passed in order to facilitate, and that's why I'm here today. But beyond that, I'd like to just provide a little bit of information on this program. I think it'd be helpful because the study itself is $435,000, but it's not just a look-see study. It's very involved. And second of all, back in 2013, because of our attendance at the Southwest Pennsylvania Commission, we were aware of discretionary funds that were going to become available. When I mean discretionary, I mean the PennDOT, Department of Transportation, set aside $12 million in a pot of federal transportation dollars, and the whole idea of that was that counties could submit applications to deal with congested corridors throughout the Commonwealth. And when they did that, they identified 9 different areas or solutions, and one of those was the dynamic truck restrictions, and that's what we tailored our application on. In March of this year, the county was notified that we had received funding. Across the Commonwealth, there were only 10 counties that had received funding for this $12 million. So, real quick, I'd like to just sort of identify what some of those other counties were. Erie County got $2 million for roadway improvements. Clearfield, $1.2 million, 5 intersection signal upgrades. Union County got $325,000 for upgrades of 3 signals. Delaware County, $2 million, lane configuration. Bucks County, $1.75 million. Lancaster County, $600,000, low-cost safety improvements along US 30. Then it goes down York County, Blair County, Butler County, and Allegheny Westmoreland County. The attempt to reduce heavy truck traffic through the city of Butler is not new. In 2002, there were some discussions that took place at the city regarding this, but those discussions never materialized or never went any further because of the fact that they didn't have what we're going to have with this study. As a result of this study, we're going to have preliminary engineering, we're going to have a traffic impact study for those areas, and we're going to have a detailed cost estimate for the improvements. What that will result in is the ability of the county, whenever we're done with the Southwest Pennsylvania Commission and we come up with different funding streams that are available, we can submit this shovel-ready project as an application to get funding in order to try to mitigate and eliminate some of the heavy truck traffic that goes through the city.
Thanks, Dave. Do we have a motion? So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Dave, I have one question for you. When you did that a while ago, was there a paid study?
No.
Or just-
No.
No, it was not. I
Correct.
misunderstood that.
Right, there was not. there was a lot of discussion. There was recently a letter to the editor from somebody,
Yeah.
from a citizen that had been involved in it. And so we're not going to throw that aside. We're going to try to, bring those people back in and have them part of the evaluation. But yeah, that never went any further. It was never a specific study.
And it's not like we wasted $100,000 on that study because it was never formalized.
Correct.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Under Commissioners, we're asking your ratification of round-robin approval to transfer $150,000 in a fair grant from the Pittsburgh History and Landmarks Foundation into the control of the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Butler. This is to be used as a supplement and in addition to their home grant and CDBG allocated funds in their effort to aid and assist low-income households within the city. We'd like your approval of that ratification.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. We would like your approval of a policy and procedure statement for the new Butler County Purchasing Card Program with RBS Citizens with authorization to waive the 30-day posting period.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? I will second it. Discussion?
Yeah, discussion on that. I'm going to vote no on this because I think there's too many credit cards. Given a lot of people in government credit cards, I just think it's hard to track, just so everybody knows this, and I like this concept. The University of Pittsburgh does this, and so does I for the county. If I go on a trip into a motel, I use my own credit card, and I get reimbursed for those expenses. And it's it works well, I think. Now, I realize we have to have some credit cards because in the sheriff's department, they have to go get prisoners and extradition and things. So I realize we have to have some, but I just thought they were increasing way too much. And the more you have, the more chance that you can have of things going awry. So we do have a program, but I realize we do need some. I'm just against going to this many more. Thanks.
Thank you. I believe our controller checks this very closely. These cards come in, when the bills come in with these cards. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
That's all from the board.
Is there a motion to approve the motion carries once more? Is there a second? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the new hires?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the requisitions?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I'm sorry. I'm checking them off too fast. Is there a motion to approve the travel requests? Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a motion to approve the check register?
I'll make that motion.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Tom?
Thank you. Mike, I took the liberty of reading what was Commissioner Eckstein's first speech, and he did not identify the victim in any way. And obviously, with the recess portion of the meeting, we know he has the permission of the gentleman who was named, whose case this was. So who would be suing the county if the commissioner had completed his speech?
Well, I don't know what he was going to say, but I know that what he did say went into exquisite detail, identifying names of a lot of people that were involved in that. And you can try and play a game of not naming someone specifically, but if you provide so much information that it's obvious, then you could be in trouble. Now, that being said, I don't know where he was going to go, but I know that he went so close to the line that my advice strongly is that you should never even get anywhere near it. Why would we be talking about some young girl's horrible situation that we went through? Whatever the outcome is, there was a young girl here that had to go through it, and that it would be rehashed in this public arena can only expose the county to a possible claim, and I strongly against it.
So better safe than sorry. Is what you're saying.
Exactly.
And would you define a personal attack if the person naming county employees believes those individuals did something wrong?
Well, it's not a matter of what you believe. If you accuse 4 professionals of fabricating and hiding evidence in a criminal proceeding, that is an extraordinarily inflammatory statement. That is a personal attack on the people who work in that system.
So if you can't criticize anybody in county government for what they do, what they allegedly did, under the current policy.
I didn't say you couldn't criticize people. I didn't say you couldn't criticize people. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay. But you're saying in this case, the accusations were so severe.
You go over a line. I mean, accusing professionals of fabricating evidence in a court case based on nothing more than his opinion is, in my opinion, a personal attack.
And this question, probably it's best if the chairman addresses it, but in general terms, when you're looking at what's been expressed here a few times here by county officials is the seriousness of what the victim went through. However, we're now being told by an individual directly involved that a medical report was not used in court that would theoretically exonerate him. So in theoretical terms, isn't an allegation that there was some apparent collusion between an attorney and a county department to bypass one report to get one more palatable to the case, isn't that a serious, just as serious an issue?
That question, excuse me, Commissioner, that question is extremely hypothetical and based on assumptions that we have no basis, in fact, that we know of today. I would advise you not to answer it. Thank you, Commissioner. What we do know is that the state, which oversees this, looked into this in great detail and made a finding that nothing improper was done. That we know. Commissioner Eckstein knows that.
Commissioner?
I disagree with what they just said. I disagree with that. That was a very narrow investigation. I'm not allowed to comment on that because they told me I wasn't allowed to. But they only did from like June 4th, a very narrow window of that. And as far as me making, I wouldn't have come here and I didn't make any statements lightly. Let me tell you that. I have a 3-inch binder in my office. If anybody thinks in their wildest dreams, I want to make this too. This really hits me. And everybody agrees in this. 2 children got hurt really bad. 2 children are hurt, and they, not by the whole case they got hurt. The children really got, Dean's daughter has never been allowed to visit with them privately since this happened 5 years ago. That is unconscionable. But you make no mistake about this. They passed that by, that first test in Butler Memorial Hospital. You make no mistake about that. And they chose to go 10 days after, 14 days after the alleged incident. They chose to go and get a shop around doctor shop to get a different opinion. And they didn't give the first doctor's opinion. That is fact. That is plain fact. Okay, now if he wants to get up here, or Rich Goldinger, or DA Bosco, or ADA Bosco wants to sue me, you let him go right ahead. It's garbage. It's the truth. The truth will set you free. I didn't make those statements lightly.
Mike, just talking about the public comment policy in general, in theory, now a lot of course, as you stated before, it's your job to try to keep the county out of litigation. But in theory, is it enforcing the policy as written and interpreted now? Potentially, the county could get sued if you stop somebody from speaking. And
hypothetically, the county could always get sued. It's law school 101. Can you be sued? Yes. Can you win? That's the question. You got to weigh the two.
And Commissioner Eckstein, it's well documented your problems with the CYS director Did you take up Mr. Regis's case because you felt he was a victim of injustice or because you have a grudge?
Absolutely unequivocally not. In fact, I made Mr. Regis, I didn't even know what the case was about initially. When we have a lot of people come, very few people do this. He was very adamant about getting people's right to know requests. And every commissioner has access to that. It pops right up on our computer. And my job as a county commissioner is to solve problems. Okay? I did not, so when these came up over and over, Bob Regis, Dean Regis's brother, that's what tipped me off. I made the phone call not knowing what was happening here to get the side of the story. I only did it after I got a 3-inch, I mean it is thick, 3.5 inches thick folder. I looked at it, studied it, Peggy studied it, and I made a decision that there was an injustice done. I know it by no means did it, no, I don't care who it is. I don't care whether it's Joyce, Carmen, or anybody. It makes no difference to me. That's what I do here. That's what people have seen me do since day one. You make claims, go, you can claim whatever you want, but I've not done it. Male or female, I've done justice from day one.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Are you gonna leave?
Yes, I think so.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Meeting adjourned.
Okay.